Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today. Today, we're here to celebrate you all and your admission to the University of Southern California. My name is Jessica Stern. I'm the Assistant Dean of Graduate Admission at the School of Engineering at USC. I have here with me some of my colleagues in the Graduate Admission Office, as well as some of our amazing graduate student ambassadors who'll be sharing information with you about their experiences at USC. Not too long ago, they were in the same boat as you. They got their admission and had to make a decision to come, sometimes move across the country or from a different part of the globe, just to be at USC. And so I'm sure they'd be more than happy to address any doubts you may have and answer any questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll just give you a 10 to 15-minute presentation, and then we'll dive right into the student panel. So again, congratulations on your admission to USC. We know that it is no small feat to get your admission, and you worked really hard to get here. So we do want to acknowledge that. You're part of an incredibly bright and diverse class, and we can't wait for you to join our Trojan community. As you all know, USC is located in downtown Los Angeles. LA is a global hub for innovation. It is also a hub for the arts and business and international trade, as well as a tech hub. So in this image here, you see something called Silicon Beach. That's about a 30 to 40-minute drive from campus. It's an area that is kind of an ecosystem of startups, but also it has branch offices of many of the major tech companies that are headquartered in Silicon Valley. And you can see there are two dots, the ISI and the ICT. Those are actually USC research centers, the Information Sciences Institute and the Institute of Creative Technologies, that are housed right there in the center of all that activity. So we do have students pursuing research in those centers as well. And it's just something we want to highlight because we know many of you are choosing graduate school as a stepping stone to advance your careers, probably to network, maybe to gain some research. And here's just one way that the location lends itself really well to do any and all of those things. LA is also the #1 city that hires engineers. So you're definitely in a good place in terms of your career advancement, and you're definitely in an amazing place in terms of enjoying your life. There's no shortage of things to do in LA. We have fantastic weather. We have the beach. We have the mountains. We have city life. So we'll definitely have our students tell you more about what there is to like about LA, but we definitely a highlight as you are considering USC. Another thing to note is that we have a very robust career connections office that offers services and support exclusively to our graduate engineering students. Here's just a snapshot of what they offer. They do resume workshops, they prep you on your interviews, on negotiating your salary, but they also put on tons of events. These events, the most known one might be our Career and Internship Expo, where we have more than 100 employers coming to recruit our students for internships and for jobs. But there's also so many other smaller events in between that are great opportunities for you to connect with alumni who may be working in your industry, to learn more about the companies that are available, that have job vacancies. There are possibilities to actually go visit some of these places, and it's called Viterbi Trek, is events that we do. There's boot camps to get you prepped. So what's nice is this happens year round, this kind of recruitment. But those of you, if you do intend to start with us this spring, you do have some time in spring to kind of adjust to your classes, to your new life, and to your schedule, so that when fall comes, and that's probably the busiest time for job recruitment, you will have already taken courses, performed well, that you can show off when you talk with these prospective employers, and kind of already adjusted to things. But certainly there are these activities that also take place in the spring semester. Oops, wrong way. If you're more interested in learning where our graduates end up after they complete their master's programs, you can check it out on the specific program pages on our website. So, Viterbi Grad Admission website, if you go to the program that you're planning to pursue and click the Career Outcomes tab, you can get a little bit of a snapshot of which companies those students are working at. There's also an amazing student life at USC. The campus is definitely very alive within Viterbi as well. We have so many student organizations, and I think that it's safe to say so many of our graduate students, not only are they giving it their all in the classroom, but they're definitely super engaged outside of the classroom as well. I'll have a link at the end of this presentation where you can explore all the different student organizations available. But we also have concerts and lectures and tournaments and sports games, and this, you see orientation pictured here as well. There's definitely lots going on campus. Our community is large, so USC does have more than 46,000 students. Within Viterbi alone, we have more than 6,000 graduate students. So it might sound kind of like a big pool, but you'll find that there are so many ways to find your community based on your interests academically, professionally, but based on your background, culturally. I mean, there's hobbies. There's so many ways that you can find people that you connect with. Our students will also be able to talk about that in just a bit. But Engage SC is an example. It's an app that we have that lists all the student orgs and events that might be going on campus. We have our own Viterbi Graduate Student Association. I don't know if anyone here today is part of VGSA, but can definitely speak to it. It's a pretty big group that is a wonderful support to our graduate students. Yeah, so just something we want to point out, that we know graduate school is about, it's 2 years that goes by pretty fast. You're going to get your degree and move on pretty quickly, but we definitely want to make sure you take advantage of all the amazing things going on. Not just to make your resume look better, but so that you can really make it a meaningful time for your personal growth as well. There is a mentorship program that we offer that would allow you to be paired with a current student who would become your mentor and help you navigate life as a new student. This is something that you will learn about as soon as you accept your admission to USC. You can join this mentorship program. Very important, the deadline to accept your admission and submit your statement of intent is coming up pretty soon. For most of you, it's going to be November 1st. Just double check the letter of admission that you received for that date. You will need to submit the commitment deposit and the statement of intent by that deadline. If any of you are DEN students who will be pursuing your program online through DEN, please submit your intent to enroll around the same time. And if you need more flexibility, just contact the DEN team. The sooner that you submit your statement of intent, the sooner you'll have access to a lot of great things, including information about orientation and helpful resources around your arrival to USC, your ability to join the mentorship program. You'll also be able to connect with your academic department and the advisors to learn a little bit about the course registration process. And also you will start getting access to campus housing options. We understand they're pretty limited if you want to pursue graduate housing through USC, but there are also off-campus options that you can explore. So in summary, please do submit your statement of intent as soon as possible so that you can get going on a lot of these things. If any of you are international students and you will be applying for an F1 student visa, you will need to submit your financial documents after you submit your statement of intent. We use a system called Trojan International to do that. So after you accept your admission, go ahead and submit your financial documents to this Trojan International as soon as possible to request your I-20. That's the official way to do it. And we suggest that the last day to submit your financial documents in that system is November 15th. It's a really tight window between that date and your start date in spring and early January. So the sooner you get it in, the sooner you can apply for your visa and get that all situated so that you're here in January without a problem. here are some additional resources for you. You can learn about the student organizations that I kind of touched on. You can get a virtual tour of campus to help see yourself at our school. You can learn about our safety and wellness resources. We know that all of these are very important factors when you choose to move and live by campus. So please definitely explore it. We do have someone on our staff dedicated to the wellness of our students. The USC itself has its medical center and many resources for you. In terms of safety as well, we have our Department of Public Safety who offers many things. We have many ways that you can feel safe on campus, including free Lyft rides at night, which we'll touch on in just a bit with the students. But if you want more information about any of these things, you could just explore online. So we do have our student ambassadors here with us today. They are also available to chat with you after this webinar on our Unibuddy system. So if you scan this QR code, you'll get directly to the page where you can chat with these and other ambassadors that may not be here today. They're the best resource possible, right? And it's a great way to start making your connections, make a friend before you even could get to campus. So please do chat with our student ambassadors. And let's dive right into that. Let's chat with them right now. I'm going to stop my presentation, and I would like to ask our students that are here with us today to introduce themselves. So I'll call you out, but if you could just share with us your name, what program you're in, and yeah, what year and program you're in at Viterbi. So let's start with Roderick.
Hi, everybody. Good morning or good evening. My name is Roderick Shi, and I'm a first-year electrical engineering student here at USC, and I specialized in VLSI, very large-scale integration. So if you have any questions about career development, course choices, anything related to housing, yeah, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly?
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Kelly. I'm currently in my second year of the Applied Data Science program. So far, loving it. So yeah, if you have any questions related to that, let me know.
Thank you. Emily?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily. I'm also studying the Applied Data Science program, but I'm in my first year. I can talk to you a little bit about that program. I'm also involved in a club called Society of Women Engineers, and I live off campus. So ask me any questions about that.
Thank you. Cliff?
Hi everyone, my name is Cliff. I also study applied data science. I'm in my second year. I'm also from Canada, so if you have any questions about international stuff, I also live off campus. Any questions about that, feel free to shoot me a message.
Great. And last but not least, Melvin?
Hello, everybody. My name is Melvin, and I'm a first-year electrical engineer, and I'm specializing in the analog circuit design track. I'm local. I'm here from LA, so if you have any questions about the area, just let me know. Thanks.
Thank you. I do want to take a moment to invite all of you attendees, new students, to enter any questions you have for our current students in the Q&A, and we'd be happy to address them. So please feel free at this time to enter any questions in the Q&A. Okay, and then anything that might not be relevant for our students, our staff will go ahead and respond to. But I'll just kick it off by asking you all, can you share a little bit about what classes have been like at Viterbi, what graduate school is like that transition from undergrad to grad? And yeah, I know a lot of students ask us, are the classes a little more hands-on or research focused? So whoever wants to take a stab at that, please, we can get the conversation started.
Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit about at least the data science courses here. I find that they're mostly project-based, which is pretty great, either individual or sometimes group. But that really allows you to hone in your technical skills. And it's something I found interviewers really love. And just like, it's great that you're going to be able to talk about it like really in depth. So I would say definitely technical, hands-on. Yeah, it's been great. It's a lot less theoretical, at least than compared to my undergrad, which has been really helpful.
And I think just to add on to that, specifically for the data science program, it's pretty flexible in what you can look to take, especially because there's the option to waive the intro courses. So depending on kind of your technical background and kind of what you've already taken, you can kind of either start from the beginning if you don't have that experience, or you can kind of jump into the more hands-on technical stuff that Kelly was mentioning at the beginning. So that flexibility is nice depending on, what you're looking to learn, what you're looking to take, and what you have taken in the past.
Wonderful, thank you. Kind of related, we have a student who was accepted to MSCS Artificial Intelligence and needed guidance in terms of selecting their courses. I know no one here necessarily is in that program, but can someone speak to just the process of how you register for courses and kind of the conversations you have with your advisors to determine what classes to take? What does that process look like?
Gonna go ahead and start us off. So yes, definitely check out the catalog first at Viterbi. You can see what's in your under your master's program to see the curriculum and the flow chart, and you can even really just sign up for classes on your own. But the advisors are there to help you, so you can contact them, reach out to them. There's always a first year recommended track. So the first spring or first fall you start, they recommend you take certain courses just to kind of get a gauge for how the rigor is. It's a pretty rigorous program, I'd say, probably across the board. I do know one fun fact is that international students actually have the option to just take one course in their first year if you like or in the first semester if you had the option to. But yeah, so it's a pretty straightforward process, and then you start on the online web portal whenever your registration date happens, and you can sign up right then and there during your time slot. In my experience, I'm coming from a Cal State, and we always had to rush to sign up for our classes like at 5 a.m. If your deadline's at 5 a.m., you better be on there at 5 a.m. But here at USC, it's a little bit more relaxed. If you don't sign up right at your time, don't worry. You still have time to speak with your advisor, and you won't miss out on the deadline, and you still get your classes. So pretty good experience overall.
Yeah, just to add on to that a little bit, during your orientation, you get connected to the advisors right away, like they introduce everyone so that you feel a little bit more involved and a little bit more inclined to reach out to them as well. So that's really helpful too.
Thank you. Someone else is asking about how you find or create research opportunities. Has anyone here been involved in research or know someone that has? No worries if not. Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
Last year it's a program called Data First that's run by the data science department here. So it's not official research as in like you don't get units for it. It's more volunteer. You do it as a volunteer. Sorry, my brain's a little slow this morning. You do it as a volunteer, but essentially you join on to a team that's led by professors and PhD students, and you kind of work in a group to help them move their research along. So it really depends on the team, but usually it was like once a week, just a few hours a week, and it was a really great experience.
Yeah, over the summer, I had the opportunity to work with a professor, and it was a pretty light involvement, especially because I was working over the summer. But the process to kind of, reach out to these professors is you kind of make that connection first, whether you take a class or actually the professor I was working with, I met at one of the events for ambassadors, kind of got through to talking with him, and then reached out to him via email and then kind of set something up for the summer. So I would say in general, the steps are kind of make that connection, whether you're taking a class from them or even just show up to office hours or something like that. And then you can reach out and then say, hey, my name is da da da. This is my interest. I want to get involved with this. Is there any opportunities moving forward and things like that? And sometimes they'll say no, sometimes they'll say yes, but that's kind of what I've seen works the best.
That's such good advice. Thank you, Cliff. Can you share what kind of research you're doing with the professor?
Yeah, so it was kind of um more along the lines with LLMs and kind of looking at how specific language is used within that and how that affects the results. Specific language being kind of, within different cultural groups, there's, specific slang or we're looking specifically at how it affects medical results within the context of LLM. So uh, along those lines.
That's so interesting. Thank you. Yeah, just want to reiterate what Kelly and Cliff were touching on. So, as master students, there are multiple ways or avenues that you can pursue research. There is a directed research course that you can take that's kind of a more structured way to do research and earn course credit instead of an elective, for example. Or you can connect with a faculty member. I love the advice of just making that connection. Go to office hours, make yourself known, and see what opportunities are there, especially if you're interested in that professor's research. There's volunteer opportunities, as Kelly mentioned. There are research like jobs or vacancies as internships sometimes. So yeah, multiple options there. There's a really good and hefty question from Neil, who was wondering if you guys had any opinions on how to go about being a spring start. I don't know if any of you actually started in spring or know people who started in spring, but wanting to know as a spring student, how they go about housing, campus involvement, degree progression. I think often students feel, oh my gosh, am I behind? Because most people started in fall. Can someone speak to that?
Well, so for spring admits, I want to say that I'm not a spring admitted student, but I do want to say that there are some advantages for spring admitted students, because firstly, you have the time to prepare for your next fall, which is fall is usually 70% of the recruitment events and recruitment happening in the fall. So you have the entire semester and the summer to prepare for your fall recruitment, and which is great opportunity for you. As of for me, I'm a fall admit and I have to work really, really hard to catch up with my course load. And now I'm spending probably 50% or 60% of the time that I have on trying to find an internship right now in fall. However, for fall students, we're just getting into the school and there are some disadvantages. For example, we don't have a GPA yet because it's our first semester. And a lot of companies, they're looking at GPA very heavily nowadays. So that's one of the things that you want to consider. Also for spring admits, I know there are tons of great courses that are offered only in the summer for USC students. And when you get into spring and next after the spring is the summer, if you don't want to work for internship, you can always take those great courses. Sometimes they might speed up your graduation time too. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of adding on to that, you do have time to like wait until fall, but if you were really itching to get started in the summer, there are still a lot of opportunities available in the spring. Like you don't have to feel like you have to hold yourself back and like wait for that. And there's still a lot of programming in the spring too, in terms of like job fairs, club fairs and stuff. Like maybe at a smaller scale compared to the fall, but it still exists.
I see quite a bit around housing and parking. Do all of you live somewhat close to campus? Or those of you that do, could you share how you found where you live?
So personally, I live off campus. I made that decision after just looking at the prices for like graduate housing and comparing it to off-campus housing. Graduate housing is a really good choice as well, but for me, I just kind of wanted like my own room, like my own apartment, that kind of situation, living with friends type of thing. Um, so personally, I got linked with a mutual friend, but I know that there's a lot of housing pages as well. You can find them on Facebook. Most of them are public. There's also a few like Snapchat groups. So just like kind of dig around on different social media pages and see who's posting and if you can get in touch with them to find housing.
Yeah, adding on to that, I found my place through a Facebook group. I would say if you're looking on public forums like Facebook, be a little wary of potential scams and stuff. But I think with a bit of due diligence, there are some pretty good options, especially if you're looking to live with a friend or two, or if you're looking again for your own bedroom or your own space.
Just really quick, I was going to say that there's actually some literature available on our website. I believe either at Viterbi or at USC EDU for graduate students specifically. And there's a comprehensive housing guide on where you should look or where you can look to see what's available, and comparing that with the housing offered by campus itself. So check out the website.
Thank you so much, Melvin. That was exactly what I was thinking too, especially when Cliff said, be cautious of scams or something. We also have on the Viterbi grad website a resource to help you, figure out exactly what might be red flags, what could be smelling like a scam and what to look out for. And then also the USC housing website, as you said, has good resources for off-campus housing as well, like a bunch of different options there to explore. Let's see. Hey, is there any WhatsApp group available for new students admitted? I don't know if there's not an official one that Viterbi does, but perhaps I know sometimes students just create their own. Do you guys happen to know of any, likely the new students from did themselves. So I don't, unfortunately, Kushi, but if you chat with other people that are here today, perhaps you can form one yourself, or we can help you connect offline.
So
Please.
yeah, so I know that for students who are admitted to or were admitted and join a class, you're automatically join that class Slack group. It's not a WhatsApp. Slack is also an communication social app for you guys to talk about course studies and even housing and anything related to that course. So once you join that course, you're automatically in for that group. Yeah.
Thank you. Emily, you mentioned you were part of Society of Women Engineers, and I just would love to dive in a little bit about student involvement and any clubs you guys are a part of, and how you found them and what you do in them. So do you want to kick it off since I called you out?
Yeah, for sure. So for that club, I just found their Instagram first. That's how I kind of got connected with them. And then I was able to just join. And they also have a Slack channel as well. So they post all their events in Slack. And even though I can't make a lot of their events, some interesting ones that they've had so far that I remember are like, they have one geared towards graduate students. So it's like resume building for graduate students. You like revise each other's resumes. It's really cool because at a lot of schools, you don't really see those opportunities just for graduate students. There's also some other events like some mentorship programs, some high school outreach programs. So some really cool stuff that you can get involved in with some organizations here.
I can speak to my own experience. So I'm a part of the National Society of Black Engineers, NSB, and the way I heard about it was word of mouth. It's a pretty big thing on campus for Black engineers, and they've had very similar to Society of Women Engineers, definitely resume workshops. We had 2 companies come in and visit us exclusively so far, actually 3. Texas Instruments, we had some finance company from New York, and then we just recently had this autonomous vehicle for a startup come and visit us, and they're all doing outreach to trying to collect resumes, get some good talent from USC, even grad students as well. There's specific workshops, and there's always food at these events too. So at the minimum, that's the incentive for everybody to attend. So yeah, it's always a good time when you join these specific societies and you can get tapped into the network.
Yeah, aside from aside from other like professional societies, there's also like just fun clubs as well. Like I know one of our other ambassadors is also in like a crocheting club. So if that's something that you're interested in, or like different sports club or intramurals, you can also do that.
Thank you, guys. Someone has asked, how is graduate life different from undergraduate?
I think on average, graduate students spend a lot less time in the classroom than undergrad. Like, I guess everyone's different, but like in undergrad, I was juggling like 3 or 4 courses and like hopping around in between every day. But graduate courses are a little more focused. And I think there's a lot more time that you have outside of the classroom. So that kind of steers how you spend your time. And that, like we were talking about before, can be split between like research, studying with friends on off campus. I find that you have a lot more time to do like more clubs and sports. But yeah, I think the biggest difference for me at least was the amount of free time I had.
I think one of the big, oh, sorry, Melvin, do you want to go ahead? I think one of the big things I found for graduate school is you have to put in a little bit more effort to try and meet people. I think in undergrad, there's a big emphasis on like putting people in situations where they can like meet each other, and not to say that doesn't happen here, but you definitely have to kind of put an extra foot forward just to put yourself out there a little bit, maybe participate in clubs and stuff to meet other students, because graduate students, they tend to be a little older, and they don't really, the school doesn't put as much as an emphasis on that compared to like undergrad, where I think there's a huge emphasis just because everyone's coming out of high school and everyone's so young and things like that. So um, it can be a little more tricky, but I think it's also great for, putting yourself out there and, kind of talking to new people that you might not have done so in undergrad, for example.
I would just like to speak to the burning question I had when I was in this position last year, which was what's the difference in the rigor? And I think it definitely depends on the courses and the program you're in. But the rigor that, so undergrad engineering is very difficult itself, but like Kelly said, you spend most of your time, or the ratio, how much time you spend in the classroom is disproportionate to how much time you spend outside the classroom. And grad school is definitely the other way around, spending a lot of time out the classroom. And in my experience currently, I think how much time you make for yourself on the weekends to study really changes how well you understand your program, to be totally honest with you. It's kind of like to the point of you should be studying your lectures after the lectures happen so that you can really comprehend the material, because these are very dense lectures. They're about like 2 hours, and you definitely don't want to get left behind because they go quick. They're all recorded, which is really good. So you can rewatch the lectures, and that's what I tend to do on the weekends. But definitely, it's how you spend your time outside the classroom that really makes the difference in grad school. And now I wake up like at 8 a.m. I never did that in undergrad, and I wake up and I start studying. So just to speak on that, if anyone had a question regarding that, I hope I answered it.
From my experience in undergrad, a lot of lectures had like seminars or discussions attached to them, but that's not really the same in grad school. You kind of just have chunks of lectures and it's up to you to learn the material, but the professors usually have like office hours, but it's also up to you to allocate that time and use those resources wisely.
I guess a follow-up question I have, especially hearing about Melvin's weekends and early mornings, how do you find balance? How do you take care of yourselves at USC to make sure you don't get too stressed out and can relax too and enjoy LA?
I'd say definitely. I check Engage SC, the app that we have every week, and there's always something going on. Like every Thursday or Friday, there's like I've been attending the School of Thornton's music and jazz concert, so that really helps me debrief. And on the Fridays or Saturdays, there's a football game, so I like spend at least like an entire day just getting into USC activities. So there's still definitely a balance you can get. You just have to be very careful with how much time you allocate to that outside balance, I'd say. So yeah, definitely engaged, always has events for you to attend, and just de-stress.
I actually want to add on that. So, as you may all know, people who are trying to pursue a master degree here at USC are all students with ambition, I would say. So you can find your classmate all working really, really hard around you. And it's not like putting more stress on you, but like I feel personally in my class that everyone, all the Trojans are working together towards one single goal. So that really gives you a lot of motivation to study. So I would say like the stress level actually goes down a little bit just because I know everyone is learning the same stuff. They're trying the hardest that they can, and I should probably do the same because I want to compete with them. I want to enjoy engineering with them. I want to be on the same level with them. So like yeah, I'm definitely more motivated than undergraduate. The one thing else that I want to mention is just the Trojan spirit that I'm feeling here. Just because of all the resources that USC is providing to me, I feel like there is definitely a possibility for me to get into the big companies. Whereas when I was in undergraduate school or like in other public schools, I didn't really feel that thing out there. So like I didn't know like where I was working for, but nowadays I know that if I work really hard, I can, and most likely I can get into like very huge companies and earning, I don't know, $170,000 a year. Yeah, thank you.
Well, because Roderick said Trojan, I have to go off of that. I mean, did you all feel the same? Like you heard about the Trojan thing, and now that you're a part of it, do you understand it in a different way? What does it mean to you to be part of the Trojan family? How are you seeing that come to life?
I think I've found the alumni network is quite strong. I think especially, I'm sure when people have tried reaching out to other people on LinkedIn, it's very hit or miss, depending on, the short little message that you send them. But I've found that UC alumni tend to be a little more receptive to that if they see that you're, studying at USC, and especially if you're in the same department. So that's definitely a strength that I've seen.
Okay, thank you. I see a couple questions around campus jobs. As ambassadors, you all at least have this campus job, but if you can share how someone might look for campus jobs, and then more broadly, in terms of just budgeting, like how to help offset living in LA, which, isn't cheap. So campus jobs and how you live on a budget.
Yeah, I do want to say something about that. There's a very great opportunity, which is the course producer positions that's offered in USC. So what is course producer? So we all know that for a course at a college level, there's usually a teaching assistant for your courses, right? They're usually PhD students, who are like helping you out doing a course and teaching you things that professor might not teach you. But oh, I'm so sorry, my cat is here. Um, but there is another position that's offered for master students, and that is called course producer. And for those positions, they're offered to those students who scored who graded like top 5% in that course. For example, if you're taking CS 101 this semester and you score really high and you got to the top 5% in your class, the next semester when that course is offered again, you can apply to those course producer positions and they pay you really well. And you're going to explore yourself in that academic environment. You're working with your professor, you're trying to teach your students and helping your students out, and that is a great experience. A lot of companies love to see that. And yeah, of course, you're gonna probably work from 15 hours to 20 hours a week, and again, you're paid really well for those positions. So try the hardest for your courses and you can get many opportunities back.
For on-campus jobs, I do know that there's every semester a specifically on-campus job fair, and it looks like they host both a virtual and in-person job fair. So I think I can't remember when the in-person job fair was, but I do know that the virtual one is always 1 week before the semester officially begins. So you can just log in on there and you can kind of get an idea for who's hiring and to see if you get a job before the actual in-person on-campus job fair.
Once you get your USC ID as well, you have access to something called Handshake, which is a really easy form to find jobs. And from that, you can filter for either on-campus USC jobs or off-campus if you're also interested in that.
Thank you, guys. Let me see in here in the Q&A if I missed anything. To continue with the campus jobs, do you find that it's pretty doable to find one? I think sometimes our students are worried that there just simply will be no vacancies, but I understand that our students can work all over in many different types of jobs. Do you have experiences in other campus jobs or have friends that work other campus jobs that you can elaborate on?
I'm currently working 2 on-campus jobs. One of them's the student ambassador position. One of them's like a call center position where we call alumni, and then ask them to just like give back to USC. Also, kind of going back to how strong the alumni network is, that's kind of like proof about how much alumni care about USC. But I found both of those opportunities. This one I found through networking with Maria, actually. She came to my school to visit, and then I wanted to get involved after I came here, but the other one I found through Handshake.
Thanks, Emily. And shout out to Maria, who's here with us. Okay, what advice do you all have for new students? Something you wish you knew, or just anything you want to impart as they start in January?
I think just keeping an open mind to new experiences is always a good step in the right direction, and like being able to say yes to a lot of new experiences, but also not spreading yourself out too thin, because there's so much going on within the USC bubble, but then also you're in LA and there's always something going on in LA. So like saying yes.
I would
So,
kind of,
sorry,
oh no,
go ahead.
sorry. I would just to echo kind of what Kelly said. I would say, really try and put yourself out there. You know, you're coming to LA, whether you're from here or you're not. There's so many things to do, and I think, as someone who wasn't from here, I think there's so many things to explore, and it can really make or break your experience depending on, you know, type of people you meet, the things you do. So I would say just, yeah, have a very open mind, try and do as much as you can, but also don't stress too much about the school side the first semester. I would say, you know, you're in a new place, try and get used to everything and try and do as much as you can without really like bogging yourself down with the, you know, the school and the rest of the other, you know, the strict stuff, you know. So
Yeah, so I just want to say that as we all know that networking and like, making connection is the most important thing when it comes to career development. And I want you all to know that once you step into the USC campus, you need to, or not you need to, that's too strong, but like it's preferred that you can make some connections once you step into the campus. I'll just give you an example. Yesterday, Melvin and I, we had this Apple event, right? So Apple, a huge company, they hosted an event, recruiting event just for USC students. That's how important they see USC students right here, right? And all the people who came to the event, all those Apple people, they were from USC initially, and they told us how many USC students are going to Apple these days because how much they love the USC students. So that's kind of the connection that you want to build with alumni, with current students, or with the recruiters nowadays. So yeah, make as much connection as possible. You never know when you're gonna need them in the future.
Yeah, just take advantage of the opportunities you're offered here. I came from a public school institution, which I really enjoyed, but at the same time, it doesn't give me the same opportunities as USC does. So just take the time, learn about the different events that are offered here because there's a lot. Just put yourself out there and yeah, just be excited for new opportunities.
Totally agree with everything everyone else said. Also, specifically to Viterbi, you can check out our calendar on the website, and there's events going on like every hour of the day. And that's how I found out about the Apple event that Roderick and I attended. And I've gotten to attend different other like events, such as like people coming back from the industry who were at USC, who did startups, and they, you know, have like a seminar series on how to start up a startup. And there was actually just recently, I participated in entering a contest for a startup to get like $50,000 in funding. So we'll see how that goes, me and a partner. So like these are the opportunities that you get, especially here at USC, a private school. I'm also coming from a Cal State, take advantage of it. And you can find that there on the Viterbi calendar.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. I know we have a couple of applied data science students here, and we do have a specific question of tips on how to do well in that program. If some of you could address that.
I think it depends on their background, but applied data science is actually special in that it allows a variety of like undergraduate majors to apply and do the program. So, like I said, depending on your background, you can start from ground zero, which basically you start by learning Python and you start by learning how to think computationally. So, depending on where you fall on that scale, to do well, I guess, if you don't have that sort of coding or mathy background, just really trying to focus in those intro courses to build up a strong foundation, because that will only support you going further into your program. But yeah, just a lot of practice.
I would say take advantage of the TA and professor office hours. I think the grad courses, like a couple of the ambassadors have mentioned, kind of go by really quickly. And a lot of your studying is done in your own time or by yourself. So sometimes when you can't really connect the dots, I find it's very helpful just to drop into the, like office hours and kind of ask them, the logic. Am I thinking correctly? What am I missing? Things like that. So I found that to be very helpful.
I'm not sure if you guys have already gotten the email to waive courses, but something that's pretty useful is just looking at the syllabus for each course. You can usually just find them online if they're public, or in the courses that you can waive, they send them to you in an email. You can just look at what's taught in those subjects, and if you want to get like a little bit ahead, or if you think that you're a little bit behind because you're not originally a data science major, you can just study those in some online courses as well, which really helps.
Emily, someone's actually asking about the process to waive intro courses. What do you do in order to do that?
So you get an email with, so I think you can waive DSCI 510, 549, and 550. You get an email before you officially enroll in courses to waive them. So for 510, you have to take like a little mini test. It just kind of tests your coding knowledge and if you know how to like think computationally. And for 549 and 550, you don't have to take a test, but they look for supplementary coursework that you have that can kind of that's kind of repeated in those courses, so you don't need to take it again. Personally, I came from a data science major myself, so I could have waived all three, but after looking at the syllabuses for 549 and 550, I decided to take them just because they didn't have material that I learned in undergrad. So I would say definitely look at the syllabus to see if you want to take a course or if you want to waive it.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Any last minute questions from our students? Okay, I'm gonna close it off here by asking you all like your favorite memory so far since being at USC. Doesn't have to be a USC thing, it could be an LA thing, just anything. What's a memorable experience that you've had?
I'll say family week. We had a family week this fall, and you get to invite your family to be on campus all week, and they can participate in attending like little classes with you and like small resources, breakout events. The most fun part of that was definitely the football game. So you can invite your family to the football game, do the tailgates, get the whole SC experience. They can kind of live through you as a college student and meet your friends and that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely family week.
I went to Viterbi Ball, which was a really fun opportunity. It was hosted in the Museum of Natural History, so it was a really cool venue. There was a huge dinosaur fossil just hovering over our heads while we were just having fun. So
Yeah, so my favorite memory would be I'm very impressed by my professors. That's always something that I tell to my friends who are not at USC. So my professors actually allowed you to call him or message him anytime of the day, and they give you their phone number. That's how much they love their students. And sometimes they just don't take emails. They say, "Oh, email is too slow." Sometimes you don't get a response, and you know, but like whenever we message him, he'll probably get back to us within half an hour or within 1 hour, or like if he doesn't have time when we message him, and say, okay, we can probably make appointment this time, this day. So yeah, that's how much our professors care about us, because like for main classes here, graduate level classes, it's not many students in one single class. That's when you really get a chance to talk to your professor and get connected with him and get insights from him. Yeah.
I would say one of the coolest things I had the opportunity to do was to see a concert at SoFi. I'd never been to a stadium that big before, and it was like a hole in the ground, which is even crazier. But yeah, that was very cool.
And to round it out, I think my favorite memory was last year I got to go to San Diego with the men's rowing team to compete. So that was a pretty fun weekend, and yeah, spending time in San Diego was always nice.
Thank you so much, guys. I love the range of experiences here. I think it shows all the possibilities at USC. I want to thank each of you for your time today. I saw so many of our students saying that this has been very helpful. So thank you guys. And a reminder to all of our newly admitted students, you're welcome to follow up with any of the ambassadors here today and any others from our group on our student ambassador page, which I think someone put in the chat. Thank you again. Congratulations on your admission. Welcome to the Trojan family. We can't wait to welcome you to USC this spring, and fight on, everybody.
Thank you. Right on.
Good one.